Alright, so I said I'd make a little video of the cockpit that I built at home. Here's the box, as I call it. I have it hooked up to power. I got a male connector, and that just goes to an extension cord that's plugged into the side of the house. We're on an enclosed porch here, so it's protected mostly from the rain, just not from temperature or humidity, stuff like that. I don't have a real door on it yet. This is framed out like a traditional house would be, with a couple nuances in here. So the door is just a piece of plywood, and as we come in, I have my computer here, and I have two TVs running. Set this down here. So, as you sit in the chair, sorry, I got a 2-year-old. He left his little snack bowl in here from earlier. But I ran a Cat 6 Ethernet cable underneath the crawl space, and then up into this porch, and then up into the box here, and then up into my computer, so I could have really good internet speeds. The walls, they're all 2x4 construction, and they're 16 inches on center, except for the corners there. They're not 16 inches on center. The dimensions are, I think it's 6'8" long by 48 feet wide. And then from the bottom of the wall to the top is 6 feet. And then obviously it's 4 feet, and I think it's 6'8" long. So it gives me plenty of room. Obviously, if you're 6 foot tall, you're gonna have a problem, coming in, banging your head up against stuff. But I got a couple of outlets off of Amazon, and one thing that I've come to realize is the more the merrier when it comes to places to plug stuff in. So I got stuff plugged in this one, on that one. I have one for the little space heater plugged in back there, and then I have this here. So far, I haven't tripped the breaker on the house for this outlet. I don't think I'm drawing that much power. I went ahead and insulated this box because prior to it not being insulated, this heater would run non-stop in here. It's wintertime right now, so, and I can usually only come out here at night once my son goes to bed. So with that thing running non-stop, the light on, my computer running, 2 TVs, I kind of got leery of how much power I was actually pulling through that outlet. I was probably only rated for like 15 amps. So if we stand up here, I'll show you the chair that I've got. And if you looked at my last video, here's my Virpil Collective mounted on my chair. And then I have a Pimax Crystal Light and a Canon camera that I was going to use for just doing like an overhead shot down at my controls for, live streams and stuff like that. Let me think of what else I have in here. So we'll go over the controls that I have. Obviously, I have the Virpil Collective, and then this here was a Turtle Beach Velocity 1 flight stick. And what I did is I disconnected the head off of the base, and I unplugged it. There's a little circuit board in here, and I just unplugged it and then cut the wires about halfway. So then I extended the wires from here all the way back down to the base. So that way I could use this up on my chair. When I mocked this up, I was at work and I was using a different chair, and I just didn't think about the difference in height of the chairs. So now full back I gotta really pull it back and kind of sink it down to get it to go full back. I'm probably going to raise it up just a little bit so I can get that full back. But this is all 3/4 inch PVC. It's a 3/4 inch union, and if you just barely sand the inside of this out, it will fit perfectly over the base of this flight stick. Coming up, I got a 3/4 inch barb fitting, and it was a threaded barb fitting, and I cut the threaded section off. So now all that's left in here is the barbs. However, I sanded them down some to get a nice snug fit once you tighten this down. Initially, they were a little too big, so I just had to sand them down a little bit to get it to work right. I'll move this off to the side. And my foot pedals that I have here, these came off of eBay. I have been looking at these on Amazon for a long time because they looked just super simple and great for flying helicopters, which is obviously what I do. I saw a post on Facebook on one of the Flight Sim pages. A guy had used these and he raved about them. And I didn't want to wait, a super long time for the Virpil pedals. And these things are like $160 to $180, depending on which seller you go through. So I was like, I'll just try it and see how they work. And they are fantastic. When you get them, they will have 2 cams right here that ride on the bottom side of this cam here. And there's a centering spring. It's just 2 bolts right here and here. Undo the bolts and take the centering spring off, and you can pull the whole assembly out. So now there's no center. And that's what a helicopter is like. There's no centering spring. There's nothing like that. And it even came with the damper with it. And it does fairly well on this wood floor. I do have this little carpet in here that helps out some. I've noticed if I put my feet more on top of it, it'll stay in place. But if I rest the balls of my feet on the floor and start using this, it will start pushing it across the floor. You can see just with my finger. Maybe not right here, but back here it'll slide across the floor. So we'll stand back up here. When I initially built this, and think in hindsight now, I should have put the TVs on that side. My whole goal in making this was to do to assist in my IFR helicopter training. And with the way that it's set up right now, I'll backtrack here. When I set this up, I should have put the TVs here. That way I could build a fake R22 console area here. Since in the R22, the PIC is on the right side, it would have been more natural to have the gauges on the left side here. Versus now, I kind of can't have the gauges on the left side because I'm stepping in through the doorway here, and there's just not enough space on this wall with the TV. So I was going to move it around, and then I just was like, I'm pretty far vested in how I've laid this thing out so far. So I'll just run it how it is. Obviously, I have my Pimax Crystal headset that's light years better than my MetaQuest 3S that I had. But just thinking back, I should have done this whole thing reversed. So just trying to think of anything else that I've done in here. And we'll just give you my computer here. I initially went to Best Buy, and I was just like, build me a computer that can play Flight Sim in VR. So I ended up with an MSI B650P motherboard, and I got the Ryzen 7 9700X CPU and 32 gigabytes of RAM and a 1 terabyte SSD. The graphics card that I had chosen at the time was a NVIDIA 4060, and it only had 8 gigabytes of VRAM. So when I would play in VR, I had to have the graphics settings turned all the way down to low, and you couldn't read any of the gauges on the dash. Everything outside was super grainy and pixely to the point where I couldn't recognize, my hometown. And I was like, this is kind of pointless. It was easier to play on the flat screen TV than with the VR. So I ended up finding a 3090 on Facebook Marketplace, and in talking with the guy, I asked him if he would do a trade for my 4060, and I added some cash on top, and he took it. With the 3090, there's 24 gigabytes of VRAM, and now with my Pimax headset, I can run the graphics on mostly high and some ultra settings, and it's night and day difference. And then especially coming from the Quest 3S, not the Quest 3, to the Crystal Light, it's a absolute world of difference with the clarity and resolution that this headset has. The biggest downfall I'd say about it is it's a corded headset, so as you turn your head left to right, that can get jammed up or tangled around you. So I took it and I wrapped it around my light that I have up here, and that kind of holds the cord up here on my left side, and it gives me full range of motion to look left and right. I hope you guys like this video, and if you have any suggestions for what to do with my box here, then comment down below. Thank you.